business, actually any business, not necessarily syndication or real estate business, you have to put systems and processes in place when you start the business, and that's going to position you to scale faster than versus someone who just, starts a business and says, I'm just going to figure things out one day at a time, one task at a time, one deal at a time. No.
This is another episode of the Automate and Grow podcast. My guest today is Ellie Perlman. Ellie is the host of the Ready to Scale podcast, and she's the founder of Bluelake Capital. Ellie, thank you for joining me.
Absolutely, Michael. Thank you for having me.
And I think I got everything right?
Yes, you did.
I'm really bad at that. Ellie and I met a number of years ago, and since then, Bluelake Capital is your real estate investment firm. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And I love the name of your podcast, Ready to Scale. So what sort of things do you talk about on Ready to Scale?
So we basically talk about tactics and strategies and tools that real estate investors can use if they want to scale their portfolio or their business, if they're active investors. We're talking about different ways to invest in real estate, different strategies, different asset classes, everything. We basically talk about everything they need to know or have in their business so they can scale and grow fast.
I love it. And that's consistent with our theme of Automate and Grow, so it's a great fit.
Awesome.
Now, your journey to building Bluelake, it's not that old, right? How long have you been doing Bluelake Capital, or when did you start it?
2017.
Which is right around the time we met. And
Yeah.
I think you were pre-deal at that point. So that since then, you've been able to build up a portfolio. Like, what sort of stuff do you do with Bluelake?
So at Bluelake, we basically buy multifamily properties, and usually 200 to 500 units in Texas and Florida and Georgia. So interesting markets without rent control.
Yeah, so not California.
No, not California, unfortunately. When you buy a building of 100 units, let's say, and each unit costs you $100,000, $150,000. That's kind of the stuff we're looking for.
That's
What we do is very simple. We buy a property, we make it nicer, we improve the exterior, we renovate the units, and then we raise rents by 20-25%. And after 5 years, we're selling the property and we're moving to the next deal.
Oh, beautiful. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, when you say the podcast is ready to scale, like how does someone get ready to scale? Like what is it more a mindset, or is there actually strategies and tactics that you think need to be in place?
So mindset is part of it, and I think mindset is very important, but it's not everything. I think if you're getting ready to scale when you start a business, actually any business, not necessarily syndication or real estate business, you have to put systems and processes in place when you start the business, and that's going to position you to scale faster than versus someone who just, starts a business and says, I'm just going to figure things out one day at a time, one task at a time, one deal at a time. No, if you're going to start like this, you're always going to be one deal after another. You have to make sure that you're building your business in a way that enables you to scale quickly. Look at it as a business. Don't focus on one deal and say, I'm just going to focus on getting the first deal. I'm going to figure it out, and then I'm going to move to the next one. You got to build a system in place. So you're systematically looking for deals. So you have everything in place so you can basically, close more deals and scale and grow your income instead of just figuring out where the first client is going to come from, where the first deal is going to come from. Because guess what? Not only are you going to get burnt out, it's going to take a lot more time for you to start becoming profitable and for your company to scale.
So when you say, like, what sort of systems are in place for a business like you're building? Like I guess the first part is in most businesses is finding customers, but in your case, you're looking for properties.
Right.
And so you're putting a system in place to do that? Like give me an idea what that looks like.
So for instance, our acquisition team actually works in a very, very robust, process. So we know exactly where they're going to look for deals, what day of the week they're going to do it, where they're looking for deals. And once they see a deal that kind of makes sense, because we basically go to brokers, websites to look for them, then the deal moves to a certain, we have a breakdown of about 15 different steps between looking at the deal and closing the deal.
Okay.
So we're using a tool called Airtable, and it's completely free.
Right.
And you can, there are a lot of templates there that you can use. And one of them, you have tools for CRM, for marketing, and for a lot of things. And we used that tool, Airtable, to build a platform where basically we have all 15 steps along the way. And every time, you have a deal, it goes to step number one. And then you have, once it's done, you push it to the next step and the next step. So people from the team, team members can actually look at that. They look at that one place and they know who needs to do what, because different players are taking care of different parts of the process. And you can do it not only in real estate, the same, if you're trying to get new clients, it's kind of pushing it to, okay, here are the clients that, I'm talking with, and this is the follow up, or the qualification, or whatever it is. When you first start, you have to basically examine the entire process, break it down to different steps, and understand who needs to do what. And it should be very clear to all team members. And then you build a system where everyone has visibility and they can see exactly where each client, each deal, each property is in, in that, on that spectrum. And if someone if something is stuck, you see it right away. It's not kind of
Doesn't
it's
sneak up on you.
exactly, yeah, because you have it's everything is very visible, and you have a snapshot of everything that is happening, and it's in one place.
So that's interesting. I haven't really used Airtable, but Airtable, for people that don't know, it's kind of a combination of, it's a very simple way for you to build a database, but then it also has concepts. So it's almost like a spreadsheet, but with the power of a database, right?
Yeah, and it's very easy to for people who, don't know how to use, Excel spreadsheets, or don't know how to build systems. It's very, very user friendly. They made it so easy, a 10-year-old can learn how to
Oh, cool.
deal with it.
Probably better
Yeah.
at it.
Yeah, they're probably better at it than we would be. Yeah, probably. But it's a very, very user friendly tool, very easy to use. And I have no affiliation with them, but I love this tool, and I
Me
tell
neither.
anyone about, about this tool, because it's great.
That's awesome. Okay. So then once you have a deal, then your process is to go in, clean it up. And I guess there's probably a step in between there. Like you're getting investors for deals too. Is there a process around that you've built? Or is that part of the first?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a separate process. So we have an investor relation team, and basically I put a lot of content out there, and that whole process is also very streamlined. So my marketing team knows on Monday we're posting a blog, on Tuesday we have artwork, on Wednesday we're sharing a quote. So every day and on different times in the day. So a week ahead of time, everything is uploaded to the system, so you know when you're releasing social media bits. And then basically that's how we attract investors, where they're reading the pieces of information that we put out there, the videos, the podcast, the blog. I also write for Forbes, so basically we
Oh,
share
cool.
everything on
Okay.
social media.
That's great.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Um
You're the second guest in a row that says I write for Forbes. So I'm
yeah,
clearly, I
well,
need to go get in Forbes.
do whatever you can to get there. It definitely helps. But that's kind of the process that we have. So people are actually, investors are looking for me. We don't reach out to investors and say, hey, do you want to invest with Ellie?
Interesting.
They basically, everything we do is to send traffic to our website. So we have kind of a teaser of the podcast or blog, for instance. In order to listen to podcasts or read a blog, you have to click and go, and that would send you to the website. And why? Because on the website, you basically can read about the company, about what I do, and we have a form where you want to leave your information if you want to talk to me about investing. So that's kind of how the process works. So it's pretty robust. When someone sends the information through the form on the website, then our investor relations team get, that's their, they know to move forward. And schedule a call and follow up and do everything. So again, it's a very, very defined process. We don't
Yeah.
just get random emails, reply, and then things, because when you do that, things are gonna fall between the cracks. You're gonna lose clients, you're gonna lose deals because one email that you forgot to answer,
Right.
and that's it.
So you're using Airtable for that as well, or did you use another tool?
Yeah, we use Airtable for that. And we're looking for, as a CRM, we're actually, there are few tools out there. You have Keep, which is KEAP. I
Yep.
haven't used, but I looked into it.
Don't do it.
Um, yeah, well,
Well, it's formerly Infusionsoft, so it's probably worth looking at. Yeah.
but we're looking into other tools. You can use Airtable for, for a CRM, but I think once you have a massive amount of people that reach out to you, it can get a little bit, it's like a fancy Excel spreadsheet, so you can't really,
Yeah, no, you
use
definitely
it
need a
then.
CRM and marketing
Yeah.
automation at some point. So,
Hmm.
and that's good that you're getting that many inquiries. So that's a positive thing. Your social media and your promotion efforts seem to be working really well.
Yeah.
And not to say anything bad about Keep, but Keep used to be Infusionsoft, and the joke was Confusionsoft.
Oh, okay. So it's a good
But
thing to know. We looked into it, but we chose not to go with them.
yeah, I mean, there's obviously a bunch of tools. I work a lot on HubSpot, or I work on a lot on Salesforce. Those are both worth looking at. I
Hmm.
recently did a project on Zoho, which I've always been kind of down on, but it's actually probably worth looking at. They've done some interesting things with that platform, just
Yeah.
off the
I,
top of my
I
head.
I think the challenge with Zoho is that there's a lot of coding that needed to be done, and
And that's what HubSpot's like too.
yeah.
I think HubSpot's like that. Salesforce is could be coding, but doesn't have to be. Salesforce gets overwhelming to people. You kind of need someone like me to go,
Yes.
listen, it's just
Clean it up. Yeah.
what's your marketing process, what's your sales process, what's your support process, and boom, 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 do it for you, right?
Hmm.
But that's usually the easier way to do it rather than trying to do it all yourself. But and then you're good, you just administer it. But it's interesting to hear you're kind of at that process where you've used a tool like Airtable and now you recognize that to keep dealing with the volume, which is great that you have, that you need some other tools. So that's amazing. Well, listen, I want to be conscious of your time. So, first off, is there anything we haven't touched on that we should make sure that we tell people about?
When it comes to scaling, no, I think we pretty much, I mean, we talked about the importance of building a system from the beginning. And people hear the word system and they get scared. Oh, a system. It sounds
Yeah, I think
expensive and complicated. No,
yeah,
it's not. A system is just, think of it as a system of rules. You need to have some tools. There are a lot of easy tools to deal that you can handle. But you can definitely, the main thing is to really know how the process looks like from start to finish, and have a tool, an easy to use tool that you can actually manage it. I think another important tool that we're using is, um, just understanding. It's kind of from the business strategy point of view. So we're using OKRs. I'm using Ally.com, and it's
what's an
basically,
OKR?
so OKRs, it's basically, a way to look at what's important with the company, at the company level, and kind of what are the goals. So OKRs are objective and key results. Objectives is kind of what is the goal for the company. So for instance, you can have multiple OKRs. So one OKR, for instance, could be buy 1,500 units this year. So that's the objective. Now the key results. So the objective is the what, and the key results are the how. Okay, the what is 1,500 units now, or 1,500 clients, or whatever it is. Now the what, that's the what. Now the how is the key results. How am I going to get there? And how am I going to get there? It could be by, um, looking into, 50 deals a week. It could be by hiring more people on the acquisition side. It could be by partnering with 5 more companies this quarter or this year, so we can do more deals. And once you have your KRs, your key results, you distribute it to those that work underneath you and say, okay, the first one you said we have to look for 50 more deals. this is now your objective. This is your main thing that you need to do. Um, Hiring more, that was the second one. This is on me. That's my focus. And then partnering, you might want to allocate some time to partner with other groups, or you might want to basically hire someone that can help you bring those relationships. So when you have it, again, it's all very clear. And there's a lot of, we're using Ali.com. There are a lot of other tools out there. So the entire company can see what everyone else is working on, and it
Wow,
focuses
interesting.
you around, yeah, around um your goals. And so once you have a goal, it has to be also, the KRs have to be measurable. So if we say 1500 units or 20 units or whatever it is, it's, you do a check-in every week, for instance, and you see where you are. You said 1500, you have to do periodic check-ins. So where you are right now, are you at 700, are you at 1000, are you at 200? And that would tell you, the system will tell you, oh, this is compromised, you might be running behind. And you got
Take
to make, exactly, take care of it and put more of your resources, adjust them to take care of what you're behind. So it gives you
interesting.
an amazing visibility.
So you are the first person I've actually talked to that A, knows what OKRs are and uses them. And this concept, I think, was recently popularized by writing of John Doerr, right? And for people that don't know, John Doerr is from Kleiner Perkins, which is one of the most successful venture capital firms. Like they funded everyone from Compaq to Oracle to Microsoft to whatever, right? Like they're like
Hmm.
legendary. And he wrote the book to describe this concept that they instilled in all of their founder-led businesses, right? Is
Hmm.
that where you got it from?
Yeah.
Or?
Yes, yeah. So
Interesting. Oh, that's great.
yeah, Measure What Matters, such a great book.
Right.
And this
Measure
is
what matters.
exactly, yeah, Measure What Matters. Highly, highly recommend. It doesn't matter how big or small your company is, or even if you're a one person, a one man show, one woman show. It's such a life, a company changing kind of, book, because I realized that focusing on KPIs is nice, but you're kind of missing the bigger picture.
Right.
And OKRs can actually help people, be more motivated. It helps to give them, a sense of, you know there's something bigger here,
Right.
and this is what we do it.
Yeah,
It's
I
not
love
only,
it.
oh, I need to increase the traffic from X to Y. That's a very narrow approach. If you don't understand why you need to do it and kind of what's the bigger goal here, when you need to have visibility to everyone in the company and see. And that's what OKRs is.
Yeah, that's
Everyone can
amazing.
see
I'm excited
what
that
everyone is
see, I didn't
working
know
on.
that before either before we talked. So I really appreciate you bringing that up because
Yeah, yeah.
again, you're the first person I've talked to aside from I thought I read it and nobody else read it. I'm
No,
like,
people
nobody
read
gets
it.
it. People read it. Okay, so that's a great book to measure what matters, John Doerr. And okay, so Ellie, I'm gonna wrap up with a few questions here because I know you've got a hard stop. The first thing is, if you believe that you are the sum of the five people that you spend the most time with, who do you spend the most time with?
First of all, my husband, and more now than ever because of the quarantine.
Yeah,
And
we're in the midst of Corona quarantine, by the way, everybody. So
yes, so
fun.
everyone is at home. I spend a lot of time with him, especially on the weekends, but now more than ever. In addition, virtually, I spend a lot of time with my right hand. Jeanette. I can't even put a, a, a value on how valuable she is to my company. And she was there with me, for about a year and a half now. So I spend virtually a lot of time with her, strategizing, thinking about the business, thinking about the brand. Unfortunately, because of the social
Distancing.
distancing, I'm not really spending much time with others. But just the other day, we had a video chat with all of my MIT friends, and we were, drinking wine from our living room, and we had kind of a seven-way or six-way hangout, Google
That's
Hangout
awesome.
meeting.
I think that's happening a lot. I got to start doing that
Yeah,
more. I've been doing it.
yeah.
I've been doing more podcast episodes, it seems, but I think I got to like hang out with people for fun. That's awesome.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. So that's I mean, unfortunately, I can't give you five people because
That's all right. Three's good.
it's only my husband and I at this point, and so
That's good. All right. Well, listen, Ellie, how are you, Ellie Perlman, changing the world?
I'm teaching people how to do what I do. I'm teaching people all about OKRs and buying real estate and raising money from investors and scaling their business. It's very satisfying. Obviously, it's not free, so there's an economic component to it, but it's very satisfying to actually help someone and change their lives and see that they can do other things that they haven't done before. That they can buy 100-unit building, 50-unit building.
Right.
Um,
That's
and
awesome.
yeah, that's fun for me.
That sounds really fun to me. I'm weird that way, but I'm down for that.
You're weird in a good way.
Yeah. Although it's funny, for a while there, I was kind of thinking, like, should I go commercial? But now I'm not so sure that makes sense. The world's very
You
weird.
should.
You think
You
commercial
should.
still?
Yes. Well,
Really?
multifamily
Versus,
is commercial.
I guess,
Above five
yeah,
units
that
is
makes sense.
considered commercial.
That
Yeah.
makes sense technically, but it's a different customer, obviously, right? Or it's a different tenant.
Depends where. Some tenants, if you're in an area with outside of California, of course, but
Yeah.
with a
Right.
$25,000 median household income, that's not really good tenant base. If you're in an area with 50, 70, $80,000, might not be a lot here, but Texas and Florida, that's a very decent living
That's
in.
very true. I mean, I think that money
Yeah.
goes a lot farther, and those are pretty stable,
Yes.
ones, right?
Yes.
I was interested in Nashville too. I guess there's a lot of probably reconstruction going on there, right?
Yeah, I heard good things about Nashville. It's not one of my markets, but I know it's growing.
Okay, well, Ellie, I'm going to wrap with one final thing, which is when we have interesting guests on the podcast, we'd like you to nominate someone that you know that would also be an interesting guest. We usually talk to experts and entrepreneurs about how they automate and grow their business or how we can automate and grow our business. So, who would you, Ellie, like to nominate as a future guest?
Ooh, I would say Natalie Alicia, which is
Okay,
she's a friend of mine. I haven't seen, usually I see her every week, but now I haven't seen her in a while. So she's also doing great things in estate planning, and it might not be, something that you probably didn't have a lot of guests that were talking about it, but
that's all
yeah,
right.
she's
Talk to
been
her.
on TV, and she published a book recently,
Oh,
so
cool.
she's
Okay.
gonna be a fun guest.
All right. So, Natalie, Alicia, you've been nominated as a future guest. Ellie, thank you so much for being my guest today. I look forward to talking to you soon.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Michael. That was really fun.
Anytime. This has been another episode of the Automate and Grow podcast. We will see you on a future episode of Automate and Grow.